Okay, what do we have so far? I know. Aspiration, application. What is aspiration? Wanting? Wanting good?
Wanting good things
for others. Application? Doing good things for others. Good definition. Okay. In order to wanting good things for others, how we develop that attitude, that thought? For practice and for measurable. That's true. So that's good. For measurables,
loving kindness, compassion, to others,
joy, equanimity. All right. Sometimes practice equanimity first, right? But the order, equanimity is the last. I think you know why those things. So now I think we'll talk about how to practice application bodhicitta, which is the 6 paramadas, right? 6 perfections. What is the first perfection? Generosity. Okay, good. Talk about generosity a little bit. So now we are thinking about, we are studying, we are practice. If you want to practice application bodhicitta, this is the only way. Think about 6 paramadas. That's the only way how to practice application bodhicitta. So the first is generosity. And there are 3 types of generosity. And they are mutual giving dharma, the teachings, and given sanctuary, protection from suffering and death, right? So 3 different generosity. So when we practice application bodhicitta, we really do something and help others that we were thinking about helping in aspiration bodhicitta. So practice 6 perfections, 6 paramatas are very important if you want to practice application bodhicitta, because there's no other way to practice application bodhicitta. So when we practice generosity, for example, material giving, the most important is our intention, our motivation. Our motivation is the most important when you practice generosity, discipline, patience, whatever. Even though aspiration bodhicitta, when you practice for measurables, the motivation is the key point, right? It depends your motivation. So we should try to make perfectly pure our motivation. Usually when we are trying to help others, when our sort of nature, basic motivation is that of looking for our own happiness or our own sort of good reputation, right? Usually, always there is expectation, right? That's not pure motivation. For example, when we practice generosity, give something to others, but behind that, our motivation, there is the expectation. You want something from, this. Maybe reputation, or maybe you do something others because something. Even though like spiritual, the practice, this level, if you think, okay, if I practice generosity, maybe then my bodhicitta will develop more, or maybe my motivation, my meditate will better because of my generosity. That's your expectation. You can't have that. You have to pure motivation. I just help, that's it. No, nothing back for me. Just to help others, thinking only others, not yourself. That's difficult for if we are sort of beginner. It's difficult, we are thinking something. If we give something, or maybe whatever, we have sort of hope, wish, or what do you call it? Our attitude is not pure, and it benefits something, and we're looking for something, our own happiness or on something, That's not pure motivation according to Mahayana, the practice, the 6 paramitas, So when we practice generosity, for instance, the actual amount of giving, whether it is a lot or little bit, is not really that important. But the motivation, the thought of compassion, and our motivation based on sort of, application bodhicitta, which means, you should think that, satisfaction. Think that I have enough. I can do this. I don't need anything back, I just want help without expectation. I just want help. That's all. That's the generosity. Even though you give $1, to somebody, and then not thinking about the result. Oh, he need this money. Just give. Because of that, if you have that motivation, this is compassion. Because you understand this person's situation and he is suffering, and then you just help. You just want help, right? So that's then doesn't matter. You give a lot or little bit. That's bodhicitta. That's genuine compassion. So that's very important when you practice generosity, and if we find that it's difficult to give to others, with that kind of motivation, then we should practice, aspiration, sort of generosity, which is, we should dedicate, our life and wealth to the benefit of others, and we should sort of pray, that one day we will be able to sort of truly give them away without attachment, without expectation, because Buddha said that beginners, should practice generosity according to their capacity. If you give something and then if you have sort of expectation, and then if you didn't get that, then you didn't receive the result, then I should not do that. I know it's not good. You're looking for something and you didn't receive that back, then your generosity is kind of you waste your practice, your property or whatever, because then you have more attachment, more think about sort of you lose that desire, the positive thoughts, which is generosity, because expectation make us very uncomfortable, and that's why Buddha said, first time you should give little bit, and then, without expectation, without attachment, nothing, just give little bit. And then if you develop that, and you will see the benefits of generosity, and then you can give more and more and more and more, That's kind of, in general, it's very important, pure motivation. And then the next type of generosity is giving sanctuary. This actually means doing whatever we can to help others. We who sort of are having difficulty, for instance, provide refuge for those without any place of safety, giving protection to those, without any protector, something like that, When we protect those who are in fear and danger, we practice the sort of giving sanctuary, protection from suffering and protection from, death or whatever. So that's very important. That's also we call generosity, practice generosity, The Buddha taught that of all relative good actions, seven beings' life is the most beneficial, rather than killing them, just to protect them, because we, no matter human beings, or animals, we have one goal, one wish, which is happiness. If we harm others, they will suffer, and they don't want that. Then we should practice, this kind of things. And then finally, the third types of generosity is given dharma, given teaching. This is how we help others to understand how to practice, and which is, we have better life. If you practice, like for instance, Bodhicitta, you have better life, right? Buddha said that given teaching, given dharma is the most important generosity, because our own mind makes, decision. Either we keep going sort of from left to life, harm others, and harm others just directly or indirectly, or we change our attitude, from our ego to bodhicitta mind, and then we offer sort of living beings all this peace and compassion up to enlightenment. It depends how we do, how we make decision with our mind. So all this depends completely on what we do with our own mind, but without the teachings, the dharma, we really don't know what is adopt, what is abandoned, right? We don't know. We have ignorance, we have anger, we have attachment. So the dharma, the teachings sort of give us the wisdom eye, We understand. If you learn more, you practice more, then you understand more. Everything, depends on the teaching, the dharma. So that's why give teaching is the most important generosity. Therefore, we should sort of teach the dharma to others according to their capacity, with pure motivation. Again, right? When you teach dharma, you cannot think about reputations, or I become famous, I become rich, whatever. That's not pure motivation. When you teach dharma, your motivation to help, and change other people's mind, good way, So generally, the first two types of generosity is, Buddha said, for ordinary people, lay people. It's easy to practice, right? And given Dharma teaching, this kind of generosity is for teachers, monks, their responsibility. Buddha said, monks and teachers, you don't have to give sort of material things or this, because usually the monks, they don't have many things. They're very simple life, right? So you don't have to this, but you have to practice generosity through your teaching Dharma, So that's about generosity, okay? When you practice generosity, this is how we help others. The first perfection. And the second perfection is discipline. The teachings on discipline, there are three types. One is avoiding negative actions, which is diminution, all the activities of body, speech, and mind that will harm others. Okay? Two is doing positive actions, such as practice the six perfections like this, and always do whatever positive action that we can, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem. So just do positive actions. And third is the benefiting of others, either directly through practice the six paramatas, these six perfections, or indirectly through practice like aspiration, a measurable practice, aspiration bodhicitta. So this the third types of discipline, benefiting of others directly or indirectly. So the discipline, the essence of discipline is actually no harm others. That's all. No harm others. Instead, help others. Understand? And third perfection is patience. In Tibet we call it Dzogpa. This is very difficult practice and very important practice. People can harm us in sort of different ways, physically or mentally, then these people are then seen as our enemies, we don't like, right? Whether sort of temporarily or for the long term, whatever, someone does something to harm us, then we don't like and we think this is our enemies. We have no patience. Very common, right? And so when we have sort of that kind of situation, instead of getting angry, we should respond positively with our love and kindness, bodhicitta, compassion, it's really, really difficult to do that, somebody harm you, then we can't sort of think about love and kindness, compassion. We feel that, if you think about love and compassion, somebody harm you, you feel something, oh, that's not correct, Why I think about love and compassion, him or her, you feel something, you're wrong. And then sort of you feel better if you get angry than love and think about love and patience, compassion, It's really difficult. It's easy to say that, right? But it's difficult to practice. For example, when we say this kind of, somebody harms you, and then I can say easily, don't angry, and think about compassion, think about your karma, like that. But it's difficult to do. It's difficult. But if we can, then it's better, because, for example, when we get angry with somebody, if we remember patience, our anger go away. I mean, and then we have the opportunity to learn to be patient, so we need to try that way. So then, then this person, actually given us the great opportunity to practice patient paramita, Um, there is a nice quotation from Adisha about this. He said, "Do not get angry with those who harm you. If you get angry with those who harm you, then when will you cultivate patience?" It's really true. I mean, it's really true. If we don't practice patience, then our anger sort of get bigger, right? Get bigger, and when it gets bigger, then there is no opportunity to practice this paramita. I mean, and then eventually we cannot control our mind, and then the situation is going worse and worse and worse. So it's difficult. I mean, this is the most difficult to practice and very common in our life. So when we practice patience, there are many methods. We can remind ourselves that on a karmic level, if someone sort of create some difficulties, it is because we have created difficulties for this person in a past time. So we are therefore repeat for our own acts now. So we can think that way, karmic level. We can also reflect that in reality. If you sort of, practice emptiness or dzogchen or nature mind, somebody's harm you, this person who hurts you is only in sort of appearance of illusory sort of nature. It's like similar. It's like a dream. If you investigate, nothing exists. Where is your anger? Where it comes from? Where it go? Like that. You can sort of only illusory projection of the mind. If you practice emptiness or whatever like that, that way you can think about and practice patience. We can also to sort of discover the real object of our anger. There are many ways we can practice patience. So this practice is most important practice for us because we have no patience. That's for sure. That's for sure. And especially in order to practice the Dharma, we don't have, we should have patience with the difficult situations, that we sort of encounter, even though people have no patience with their meditation, sometimes, sometimes, for example, we learn in something that is difficult to understand and very, very difficult to practice, and then people have no patience with their meditation, So then I can do this. Just forget it, That means impatience, and easily we can see when we drive, little bit problems, you get angry, no patience, So this is a big problem in our life, It's very important to practice this paramita, 6 paramita, But if you practice bodhicitta, then this is opposite of patience, the anger. If you develop more compassion, love, kindness, then your anger go away. I mean, because they're opposite. And my teachers always say that base your mind on practice patience. Base your practice patience on a simple life. Because we have more time to practice if you have simple life. And base your simple life on thought of death, because we never know what will happen, right? Our life is like, it's like a bright sunny day, moment by moment, sort of life, gradually getting shorter and shorter, like that, So very important. These are my teacher's sort of instructions. Base your mind on practice patience. In order to practice patience, if you have a simple life, easy to practice patience. Your simple life based on thinking about death, it's very important. You have to sort of ready for death, no matter, when you die, you're ready. Your mind, which means peaceful mind, compassionate mind, no worry, no stress, you're ready. Okay, that's practice generosity, practice patience, zopa. And then fourth perfection is diligence. There is called courageous diligence, which means we courageous our life. We should remember that we have all these freedoms and advantages of human life, the precious human life, and we have in sort of authentic teacher, the Buddha, and we received the Buddha's profound these instructions and teachings, and we have this wonderful path, So we should think that when you practice and when you understand this situation, and we should think from now on until I myself sort of established in a perfect liberation, I will never abandon my diligence in the practice of virtue, practice of six paramatas, right? That we called in the courageous diligence. So we have this opportunity to practice the true Dharma. We should understand this preciousness, and there is also diligence in an action. This means not wasting our precious human life with the intention of studying and practicing the Dharma. We need to practice, right? So we need to practice, not just thinking. We really need to practice. And then we have diligence that cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped. We should not. Usually, when I always say satisfaction is very important practice, right? But when we think about the diligence, we should not ever be sort of satisfied with just doing a little bit practice, retreat or few practice or few prayers. Okay, that's enough, never satisfied. You continually, okay, I want practice continually, no matter what. It's difficult to meditate or not. I just want to try continually. You cannot stop. Okay, you're diligent. So we should sort of promise to practice as long as we live, and until we sort of have attained liberation, because we all have the potential for liberation, right? But in general, attain the liberation really depends completely on our diligence. Because diligence purifies our laziness, I think we have two major problems in our life. You know that? Laziness and impatience. These two very difficult in our life, right? Laziness and impatience. So we have to think about that, right? If we want practice application bodhicitta, we have to think about how to diminish our laziness, how to, control our impatience, So, usually the best supports for meditation practice are joyful effort, mindfulness, bodhicitta, very important. When we meditate, first, we need to sort of apply joyful and continuous effort. If we experience joy in what we are doing, then we will want to continue to practice. These are kind of methods. Very important. Practice diligence. What is that? Fourth, right? Fourth is diligence. The fifth is meditation, meditative concentration. This you know already. In general, meditative concentration is about developing one-pointed concentration. Remaining free from thoughts or not following them when they arise, right? No matter how long we meditate, try to meditate with mindfulness, right? Otherwise, if we are just sitting and then thinking, that is not meditative concentration, Of course, it naturally sort of happens when we meditate that thoughts suddenly arise and lead us in difficult directions, But when we see that happening, when we meditate, rather than following our thoughts and immediately sort of bring the mind back through the concentration, mindfulness. So concentration means paying attention to the main focus, our meditation, our practice. Concentration means not forgetting what we're doing, but sort of being clear and more focused, So that kind of things, that's meditative concentration. The fifth paramita, sixth perfection. And finally, the wisdom, sixth perfection is wisdom. There are, three wisdoms, and wisdom from hearing, wisdom from thinking, wisdom from meditation, right? Wisdom from hearing is learning Dharma, teaching, through hearing the teaching from our teachers, right? Wisdom from thinking is not only hearing the teaching, but also reviewing what we have heard from our teacher and coming to an understanding about the meaning through sort of examination, analysis, and sort of asking questions, about what we do not understand. So that's wisdom. And we need to make sure that when it is time to practice on our own, that we will understand what we need to do. Like myself, my old root teachers passed away. So if I have a problem, there's no teacher to ask. But I know exactly what kind of meditate I want. I know what is how and what is the best and what is the antidote. All this. So that's why these wisdoms. First you hearing, learning, studying, and then you sort of question yourself, research, and you need to make sure that one day you don't need teachers. You have to sort of own your practice, but no problem if you at that time you have to understand everything, and then wisdom for meditation, right, develops in us after we practice the teachings we have learned and sort of intellectually. Once we have this experience in meditation, we will start to have true sort of realization and understanding. That's the wisdom from meditation. So these 6 paramitas are an explanation on how we practice application bodhicitta. Think about 6 paramitas. 6 paramitas, you are doing something, right? Not just a desire. So that's why this we call application bodhicitta. Doesn't matter when you do something, when you give something, right? For example, poor people, you give food or money or whatever, you are practicing generosity. Okay? But that generosity, genuine generosity, depends your motivation, right? That's why bodhicitta there. If you have a genuine motivation, application bodhicitta, you can call that application bodhicitta. You are practicing application bodhicitta, So, application bodhicitta is not preparing to do something. You understand that? But actually sort of, implementing the plan sort of through action, these 6 perfections, 6 paramitas. So these 6 paramitas, very, very important. Very, very important.
When Longchenpa talks about the 6 paramitas, he talks about practicing generosity, for example, without thinking about subject-object or the exchange.
We're not talking that. That is really absolute bodhicitta. I told you, absolute bodhicitta, put aside for a second. We're talking about relative bodhicitta today.
But even to practice relative bodhicitta well, don't you think that you have to, in some ways, like you said, to give without thinking of expectation? Isn't that exactly what Longchenpa?
No, that's more than that.
I know.
More than that. Practice generous 6 perfection. You can practice 6 perfection, ultimate bodhicitta ways you can practice, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Definitely we're not there yet. So we first need to develop relative bodhicitta, pure. Investigate ourselves, when we do something. Okay, think about these 6 paramitas: generosity, discipline, patience. If we don't have patience, that means we are not there yet. That means we are not ready to practice ultimate bodhicitta. Ultimate bodhicitta depends on relative bodhicitta. If you have really good practice relative bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta easy. So relative bodhicitta is the foundation, If you don't practice relative bodhicitta and then think about, this person, object, give things, the material, and myself doesn't exist, everything is emptiness, nothing. You never develop, you never practice generosity. Your stinginess there, already there. Your attachment is there. You just thinking, attachment doesn't exist. Okay, this person doesn't exist. Like that is, we're not there yet. Do you mean it's a very, very nice practice. Okay, nothing exists. Nothing exists. It's nature. This is nature. Nothing exists. I'm rich but doesn't exist. This person is a very poor doesn't exist. This is my generosity. So I don't think that's a good idea. First we have to think about ourselves. How much we have attachment, stinginess. stinginess. We have to sort of comfortable with when we practice six paramitas. That's why I say pure motivation. If you give $1 somebody, there is no easily to give that. That's fine, right? But maybe $100, maybe $1,000, more and more difficult because we're not there yet. For bodhisattvas, give somebody $1 and $1,000, no difference. No difference. But for us, very different. Myself, give $1, no problem. There is no attachment there, nothing, no expectation, nothing there. But $1,000, oh, we're not there. Generosity, first generosity, how much you can give without attachment. Okay, even though you can give like $1,000 with attachment, but think about practice patience. If you are not wrong completely, but somebody harm you, what should you think? Why he or she hurt me? I didn't do anything wrong. We have no patience, because I'm wrong. I'm this person wrong. I'm not doing anything. That's why we're patient. We have no patience. We get angry right away. We have no application bodhicitta. Even though ultimate level bodhicitta, somebody hurt you, I think we cannot think about, this person is nothing exists, it's emptiness, my anger does. It's difficult to think that, right? That means we're not there yet. That means we have no good foundation. So we should start the easy things. That's why I will tell you this paramitas, 6 paramitas are given in practical order. First generosity, then discipline, then what? Patience, then diligence, then wisdom. These are order. Two reasons for this order. The first reason is what we begin with, sort of easier, more sort of accessible practices. For example, practice generosity is little bit easier than practice discipline. Practice discipline is little bit easier. Practice patience. So Buddha said you have to practice easier, easy things, in order to your capacity, So it depends you, I don't say we're not there yet means I'm not there yet. So maybe you are. If you have a good, these capacities, easy to practice patience, then your generosity is more easy, So then you can do that. But there is an order, Think about that, And then second reason, the paramitas, this order, paramitas appear in this order is that they're cause and effect, relationships. And for instance, it is understood to be a relationship in which each paramita becomes support that give rise to the next paramita. If you for instance, think about generosity, you're thinking about this person need this, I want to help. So that means actually you are practicing also discipline, right? Discipline means abandon your negative thoughts, right? The essence of discipline is practice is, benefit, do something, for others, right? So if you practice generosity, then this is really good for also. This is causes, the foundation. This generosity is the foundation. Practice discipline, and practice discipline is foundation of practice patience. So there is a relationship, So there are two reasons this order. So we cannot, usually and generally speaking, you cannot skip, like don't practice generosity and then practice discipline. You can, but that's not correct order. First to think about when you practice, if you really want to practice application bodhicitta, first to think about generosity, okay? Generosity, that's the first paramita. These explanation of paramitas are not in detail, and I think it's definitely not enough to understand. So please study more if you can the paramitas. For instance, if you study the Madhyamaka, the Shantakirtas, the middle way, this commentary is about 6 paramitas. And also if you read the way of the Bodhisattva's life, it's also talk about 6 paramitas. So there's tons of books talk about paramitas. So each paramita has 3 different types. I didn't teach you today, but different types, 3 different types. And also how you practice those relative level, how you practice those ultimate level, and also, for instance, if you practice generosity, actually it has all the paramitas, like there is a diligence there is discipline there's wisdom, everything. So in detail you have to practice all these teachings. So this is not enough, but just today, this is idea. When you ready to practice application bodhicitta, then practice 6 paramitas. That's how you practice. There's no other way to practice the application bodhicitta. That's that very shortly. And now I will give you the instruction of practice bodhicitta. If you choose practice bodhicitta, the bodhicitta is, if you think the practice bodhicitta is most important practice, and I will keep my mind, this bodhicitta practice is my main practice, then you need to do like this. You, for instance, when you practice no matter aspiration bodhicitta or application bodhicitta, you sit down and watching your breath. This is very good foundation, right, for a few minutes. And then once that, then your thoughts and your body will really calm and relax. And then you choose the situation of a person or yourself or family or bigger society, all this world, who are suffering, right? You choose that. You have to. This will be the object of your contemplation. Your bodhicitta. So meditate like that until your heart fills, with compassion. If you are not see and feel suffering, then there is no way to develop compassion, right? Compassion is desire free from suffering, right? Yourself, others, society, everybody. Compassion means free from suffering. Wishing that all living beings free from suffering, right? So in order to develop that thought, that desire, you need to see the suffering. You need to really think about the suffering, continue, sort of, until you feel compassion rise in your heart, when you see the suffering, easily to develop compassion, right? So in order to have this feeling, compassion, you need to sort of, for example, when you think that someone who is suffering, you should put yourself in their place and visualize that it is you that is suffering. Once you use this is a very good method. Once you use this method, you will come to an understand of how that suffering feels. You know, this will help you to sort of that you don't want to harm others anymore if you feel the suffering. And you should try to sort of examine what makes this person happy and what causes suffering his or her daily life. You know, think about that. Think about that. And you're able to see that the person suffer because of the circumstances, because of ignorance, you know. So practice this exercise many times on the same person or different people, you know. Then you will sort of start to develop your capacity to open your mind, you know. When you practice meditation like this, in that moment, you know, if you find it difficult to practice compassion, then, you know, return to your breath, you know, with mindfulness, and you know, just relax and, you know, like that. I mean, this meditation is not for fun, you know. You are thinking about suffering, and sometimes you get tears, crying. That's really good. Do that, you know. One time there's a story, the Kardamba masters, you know, the Atisha, is a student. He has a very, very good practitioner, monks, and then he asks the people, you know, what he's doing with his meditation, what this person doing. He asks three sort of best his students, and then they told him, you know, oh, your student, this student practice emptiness, you know, great perfection, like that. And then he said, and then this student, your student, oh, he does, you know, like circumambulation of the stupas and saying prayers and mantras, all that. He said, Atisha. And then this person, I don't know what he's doing, but he's you know, yeah, and he's crying. I don't know what he's doing, what he's thinking. And Atisha said, that is the practice. That's because he's crying, because he's thinking about other people who are suffering. So he's developed that compassion, and that is my student, you know. So he said that. So this meditation is not really for fun or something, but it brings you the most beneficial, you know, because this way we can develop our love, kindness, compassion, patience, right? And forgiveness, and so, everything. And so when we are practicing bodhicitta and developing the great compassion, usually there are two kind of methods, you know. One is thinking about everybody is equal, right? Everybody don't want suffering. Everybody want happiness. So that's one method, you know. That's why I'm going to harm others. Everybody wants happiness, include myself, right? So that is another one. So we sort of consider others as equal to ourselves. I like this meditation, you know, because then easy to if you think about yourself, whatever you want, others want that. So then easy to understand, you know, the situation of others. And the other method is thinking about suffering, you know, develop compassion. So if you don't practice dharma, if you don't practice application bodhicitta or aspiration bodhicitta, then, you know, see, thinking about suffering. I mean, most people, if I say, okay, practice compassion, and then people have a question, how? And then they say, think about suffering. And people don't like that. I don't want to think about suffering. So, but if you, yes, that's right. If you don't practice Dharma, then thinking about suffering can be like torturing yourself. Not good, right? Because you don't have a solution to the problems, sufferings. But if you practice bodhicitta, practice dharma, thinking about suffering can become very beneficial. So I think there are big difference between just thinking about suffering without practice and thinking about suffering with practice. Because, one sort of makes you more worried, right? And one brings you compassion. So if you practice Dharma. So it's very important. When you practice bodhicitta, we need to think about others, which means, you can, when we think about like Tonglen, we think about both suffering and happiness, both, right? But most time, when we practice bodhicitta, think about others' life who are suffering, who are difficult, because that ideas gives us, I want help. Because this person, difficult situation, I have enough, I have my life, I have a perfect life, I have everything, I want help, right? So bodhicitta, that's the benefit. Bodhicitta gives you that idea, I want help. Instead, I want harm, right? So now, that's all. Practice almost lunchtime. So few minutes we have. So little bit meditate, okay? Sitting comfortable. Just we have few minutes, quick and comfortable. Your back straight, your shoulders relaxed and open. Then rest your attention on the breath in this moment. Just breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in deeply a few times, and then sort of experience, your body and your mind sort of fully and completely sort of relax and peacefully, And then I would like this time you think about this, the love and compassion, okay, and aspiration to free all living beings from all suffering completely is what we call mind of awakening, right? Or bodhicitta, right? So the Buddha sort of discovered this profound and precious, this bodhicitta, and he opened this teaching to everybody who wish to practice, right? So we understand a little bit the benefit of bodhicitta right now, right? We understand the benefit of bodhicitta, right? A little bit. So now think about this. Without existence of all living beings, can we practice bodhicitta? First, we are really sort of confident and excited, to practice bodhicitta because we understand the benefit, the value of bodhicitta. But without living beings, can we practice bodhicitta? Without living beings, how can we generate love and kindness and compassion? And you should think this, a question, sort of make you ask your question. Who gave us the opportunity of putting these teachings of Buddha into practice? Who gave us this opportunity? Without existence of living beings, can we attain liberation? Can we attain liberation? Do you think, is there a way to actualize the Mahayana path? To eliminate all the defilements and to attain all this realization without depending on living beings? Do you think, is there any way we can do that? Do you think are the living beings the foundation of our practice? Can we engage in this wonderful practice, the cause of happiness, the cause of enjoyment without living beings? What do you think? Just a few minutes, think about that. I truly believe that even every single happiness we ever experience comes to us through the kindness of living beings and depends upon them. But maybe you will think and believe a little bit sort of differently. So, think about these questions for a few minutes, okay?